In Kisii and Nyamira counties of Kenya, the rains pour down as they did in yesteryears. There is no single month that it doesn't rain here. This is a unique place. The locals have given it a name.
Kisii ni mahali pazuri Mungu anachowagea Mungu.
The land is rich in many things. The land here is lush and green all year round. They are basically farmers. They plant every type of food and harvest in due season. They are a hard-working lot deterred by nothing else but malaria.
Umbu wanapenda pali ya kujipicha. Na chai iko karibu na nyumba. Ndizi pia iko karibu na nyumba. Naye umbu inaishi huko ndani. Sasa ikifika wakati ya usiku wanatusumbua.
We are at 15% positivity rate. Some sub-counties goes as far as 20%, 25%.
Every 3 years, the Ministry of Health, through the Malaria Control Unit, together with other stakeholders, conduct a free mass net distribution exercise across the malaria-burdened counties in the country to help combat malaria.
Tulisumbuka sana tukienda hospitali kila wakati, lakini nashukuru Mungu na naweza kusema asante kwa serikali yetu juu walitusaidia kwa neti. Tangu tupate neti, tumekuwa vizuri sana, tumekaa salama.
In order to consolidate the gains made so far today, we are launching the process of distributing 481,657 long-lasting insecticide-treated nets. This will see our count reach the universal mosquito net coverage of 1 net for every 2 persons.
The national government has put in place several activities aimed at achieving universal net coverage.
The first one is coordination of malaria activities, as what we are having now when we are distributing the nets. Number 2 is to ensure that we are coordinating partners in net distribution. The third activity is which is very critical, is providing technical support, giving the right information to partners, and also we remain to be the lead agents when it comes to mass net distribution.
Population Service Kenya, with the support from USAID through Presidential Malaria Initiative, plan to distribute 3.8 million nets. This is a part of the 14 million nets that were to be distributed nationally. So these nets were to be distributed in 3 counties. Those are the endemic counties, that is Kakamega, Busia, and Bungoma, and also in 2 epidemic-prone counties, Nyamira and Kisii.
Kwetu tuko watu 10 na tumepewa neti 5.
Hizi neti tapatia kijana yangu mmoja na ingine mimi na wajukuu 2.
The records from the Ministry of Health proves a fact that people who have been consistently sleeping under the nets have been able to keep malaria-causing mosquitoes at bay, and malaria cases have been on the decline.
Ukiwa huko ndani ya net, unaona tu unagojeka kila wakati. Sasa hukui na nguvu hata ya kufanya kazi.
Sasa at least hiyo net itakuwa inanisaidia niendelee na kazi yangu, watoto watakuwa na malaria tena.
So mahali tulikuwa tumefikia
The process of mass net distribution began months ago with a series of training of health volunteers and community health workers who registered and also engaged their local community in net use awareness.
Tulifunzwa juu ya net, tumejua kama inawekwa namna gani. Hata sisi tunaendelea tu kufunza wengine.
Ili kuhakikisha kila mtu anaandikishwa net, tulikuwa tunatembea na mzee wa kijiji nyumba kwa nyumba kuandikisha. Alafu tunaitisha ID, alafu ukishaandikisha unawafunza kidogo umuhimu wa neti, alafu tunawaambia mtaongoja ujumbe siku yenye mtaenda kuchukua neti.
One CHV is entitled to 100 households. So on day-to-day routine, they visit the households. They even demonstrate, as you saw there. Because you see, when you give out the net and then somebody maybe doesn't understand how this net is supposed to be hung, that is actually their duty at the household to demonstrate and show these people how the net is hung, so that when the person is inside, then net is a barrier between a human being and a mosquito.
These nets, if they are not used well, they are not going to serve the purpose of protecting the user from malaria.
Tulifundishwa ya kwamba tukienda na hizi neti tuende tufunge kwa kibuli, ikae kwa 24 hours, ndio turudi tufunge kwa kitanda tuendelee kutumia.
Alafu tena wakatuelezea usiweke karibu na moto, inaweza pengine kuchomeka ama ilete madhara ingine. Alafu tena wakatuelezea baada ya miezi 3 tuwe kama imechafuka tuoshe na tutumie maji tu, tusitumie sabuni, inaweza toa madawa.
Tunasema kila mmoja alale ndani ya neti. Kulala ndani ya neti inakuzuia usije ukaambukizwa na virusi vya malaria.
Technical working groups at various counties are formed to foresee various pre-launch activities in creating awareness to the communities on malaria and why the free net distributions.
Kama net ni ya kuweka kwa kitanda, watu wakae salama bila ya kusumbuliwa na umbu, wacha iwe hiyo ndio kazi ya net. Tumesikizana sana wananchi.
We used what we call the community strategy, and this is a strategy that was put in place by the Ministry of Health. And the community strategy also links up with partnership with the administration, where we have the chiefs and the village elders.
We started from microplanning. After the microplanning, then we went into sensitization of the various stakeholders. After the sensitization, then we had to do household registration of the people who are supposed to, the beneficiaries of the net. And then after the household registration, then we have the actual distribution exercise, which is currently going on. We were able to know the number of nets that were needed. There were various procurement processes, and the nets landed at the port of Mombasa. From there, we engaged a transporter who delivered the nets to the divisional stores where they were to be sold for a few days before being taken to the selected posts in the various counties. So this is where now people were to be able, the community were able to get the nets from. The measures that we put in place to ensure that every net is accounted for involves a series of documentation. We have delivery notes that come from our regional warehouse to the drop-off points, which are divisional headquarters. Then from the drop-off points, nets leave there to the post. There they have an S11 that is used for this exercise. Then from the post, the nets are captured using two major documents. There is the household register that shows who has received the net, and the tally sheet that shows how many nets have actually left the post. This is summarized on a daily basis to ensure that the quantities that leaves the post on a daily basis is captured.
We also have to ensure accountability that actually these nets, the nets that we brought in, go to the exact people we are talking about. And that's why we use the national identification cards during registration. Now, when it comes to collection, that national identification card has to be produced. So for us to be sure that in the register, this is the person we actually registered, and this is the number of nets that the person needs to be given.
We do believe that with this mass net distribution and our people using them appropriately, then we will be able to forestall that kind of epidemic from setting in.
The process of free mass net distribution is a challenging and rigorous exercise that calls for partnerships and synergy creation. As women, children and men, both young and old, collect their free mosquito-barring nets, the country is gradually moving towards a malaria-free country. For the beneficiaries, a burden has been lifted and their voices are filled with gratitude.
Asante sana.
Tunasema ni asante.
Nawashukuru sana.